In January 1966, when I was a secondary 1 student with Seng school, my father expressed the wish that I be the first aider at home. My mother is actually very supportive of voluntary work. She encouraged me and inspired me along my lifelong journey. When I was 12 years old then, I took this first step and it kicked off a lifetime journey. As a young man, when I was Sec 1, I also aspired to don the Red Cross uniform, to march and to render first aid. And that year, I marched in the first National Day Parade. Thereafter, I had many memorable National Day Parade. The National Day Parade in 1968 was very memorable because there was heavy downpour. And we continued right through the parade. Then there was this one in 1969 when we were commemorating the 150th anniversary of the founding of Singapore. In the 1970s, when I was in the pre-U, actually 2 persons play a pivotal role to my journey in the Red Cross. First is my mother, who encouraged and inspired me to continue the good work. Number 2, this person is actually the Red Cross volunteer in the headquarters. He encouraged me to join the out-of-school unit, which is known as Open Unit at the time. This group of people do not just do training of first aid. They render first aid and do many kind of voluntary work. And the group grew to be stronger and stronger each year. Just like the Red Cross Youth Strength itself, the school-based units were also growing. It grew to more than 10,000. But beside this, they were always deployed for major event when we have to coordinate with our partners in the Red Cross at the time, known as the Voluntary Aid Detachment. At national occasion like National Day Parade, VAD, Voluntary Aid Detachment, would need more volunteers. So our adult volunteers and also teacher volunteers are able to be deployed to help them. It can be at some other national scale event, we will be there. And some of the national emergency, we were also there. So actually, our people in the open unit are actually joining with an open mind, I told her, so that they are open to all the opportunities that come along their life journey, just like me. I was involved in so many things, you see? And we have to learn to specialize in so many areas so that when we are needed, we are there. But the open unit is pivotal in many activities organized in the headquarters. For example, the group is so big, so some of them can choose to join the Red Cross Youth Chinese Orchestra. They actually perform, they provide a cultural angle to our activity. And we discover a lot of talent. We even have World Red Cross Day variety show, and they were involved in it. After a while, the former Radio Television Singapore was aware of it, and they even asked this Red Cross Youth Chinese Orchestra to perform in their studio. These are very memorable experience our volunteers do go through during those years. I was in school a librarian. So when Red Cross have a hospital library service, it's very natural for me to help along this service. Actually, the service started in the 1960s, but I joined headquarters in the early 1970. And I re-established it and strengthened the Red Cross library service. See, myself, I'm a volunteer, but the students are also volunteering their time. We guide the student to the wards to read the books to them, read story to them, interact with the patient, and even cheer them up with the use of the book. The books were donated by the generous donor to the Red Cross for this purpose. It is a very meaningful service that we have done. Actually, I can recall that the nursing officer always assigned me to the terminally ill children those days, so that as a youth and the students who are young also, we can interact and bring cheer to this patient. In the mid-1970s, the Vietnam War was on, and soon after the Vietnam War years, many Vietnamese refugees were displaced to various parts of Southeast Asia, including Singapore. While they are in Singapore, they are accommodated temporarily at the Vietnamese Refugee Camp along Hawkins Road. I, together with many volunteers, organized many activities for them, not only befriending them, but bringing them to outings. It can be parks, it can be places of interest, so that during this sojourn through Singapore, they know a little bit more about Red Cross. We even bring them to the Red Cross house on some occasion, so that they know there is this international perspective of Red Cross work, though done by local volunteers in Singapore. The collapse of Hotel New World occurred in 1986. When I first heard it on the news, I disbelieved that a hotel can collapse. But then Red Cross called me up because I'm one of the key person in the society. I was surprised, but I know I'm ready, because a hotel collapse is a very big disaster. So in my mind, I already go through the plan to activate a lot of people, but I can't do it myself alone. It's a teamwork. So when I was on the ground volunteering, I already start activating people from there. As in, I require people who can form composite team to go down to the site of help, to render first aid and psychosocial support to the survivor and the family members. Over the week-long, day and night effort, we are able to do it because we have a big pool of volunteers. Adult volunteers who are trained, ready and steady in their work. Many are teachers volunteers also. In December 2004, actually, the tsunami swept the coast of our neighboring country. I think close to 250,000 people were understood to be killed at that time. Singapore Red Cross swiftly moved into action. We have a first team of composite people, volunteers I mean, being sent together with actually help of the Republic of Singapore Navy in their naval craft. They were the people who arrived there soon after the tsunami. Our local effort in Singapore were being planned and prepared. I was then the Honorary Secretary of the Red Cross Youth. I have to play a pivotal role then. I have to mobilize our volunteer bases in short time to get our relief supplies in family pack to be ready to be airlift with the help of the RSAF, the Republic of Singapore Air Force. So we packed them over 3 days with the help of volunteers, with the help of members of public at that time. So our volunteers become leaders to this member of public. It is a very purposeful work with local work but international perspective. At that time, Red Cross had actually established an operational center located at the Paya Lebar Air Base. I led the team for this purpose for several weeks in the initial stage to coordinate the manpower and logistic needs then. This is a very rare but unique way of helping in such a big calamity for our neighbors in this way. With regard to the International Friendship Program, there are two aspects to this. The first aspect is about preparing items like stamp cards, like dolls and all that, by our cadets in our schools, primary and secondary school. Then when they are ready, we will exchange this item with our partner or sister society, we call, in other country, in other part of the world. And in turn, they will send us some item or even cards, postcard about their country. This way, we exchange our culture, our food, our races. The other aspect is about the exchange of people into experience program with the respective country. Red Cross is well known for its international friendship exchange program with many countries. Singapore Red Cross has got many years of, for example, such bilateral exchange with Japan. Myself, I've led in one of the exchange program in my younger days. I was then a participant and a leader. It's not just about going there to know more about their food and all that. We also want to know about their Red Cross work. In fact, when I was in Osaka, I have given my pint of blood over there. So the Red Cross people, they was happy, and one of them remarked that, so you have left your blood with us. So that remark really caused me to think and also have reflection sometime that such a gesture indeed bond us with people from other countries. Well, on this occasion, we are celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Singapore Red Cross. I'd like to share this with one and all. If it is something worth doing, is worth doing well. Humanitarian work is worth doing. We must all do it well. Do it well together.